Revealing the new earth. The only way to be completely free of fear is through the purification of our heart by Christ. The light of Christ is the only spiritual force bright enough to illuminate the deepest, darkest recesses of our heart, where our deepest insecurities, fears, and wounds reside. Christ brings God's light and thus healing into these places. And when this purification process has been fully completed, we will have a heart completely free from fear, which radiates light, joy, love, compassion, and the power of God into the world. This is possible for each one of us. But how does this relate to the new earth? The new earth is being anchored on this planet in various locations, specifically by individuals who have gone through this process. Individuals whose hearts have been cleansed of fear and have mastered their mind's tendency towards all negative and fearful thinking. Such individuals, even though they may not outwardly appear as Christians, will have had to have undergone purification by Christ, because this is the only way that this process can fully occur. Without the light of Christ, total purification is not possible. And so, from the heart and mind of such a purified individual is projected the light of Christ, along with a vision of paradise which does not conceive of threat, fear, danger, or suffering. This vision has to be held, anchored, and projected outwards by such individuals for the new earth to become a tangible and accessible reality for others, who too must be willing to embark on the journey of purification from fear, anger, pain, and general negativity if they wish to step fully into the experiential realization of heaven on earth. So to bring all this back to the practical level, we are all being required to purify our heart, and the light of Christ is the means of doing so. And furthermore, we must each be willing to bring such a vision into the present moment, rather than endlessly projecting it out into the future, because it can only occur now. As long as it's projected into the future, it will remain in the future. Now please understand that these are not just second-hand ideas or theories. This is a reality that awaits anyone who is willing to let go of cynicism, doubt, fear, judgment, and disbelief, and recognize the miracles that God is undertaking on the planet at this time. These miracles occur through any human heart which is willing to be truly humble, and thus receive the astounding revelations, some of which may be mind-blowing, that God is trying to share with them every single day. We live a life of miracles when we have no expectation or preconception of what is possible for God and what God will do. We have to be willing to have our minds blown and all of our preconceptions shattered, because things are not going to occur according to our mental expectations. Humility and receptivity really is the key to all of this, and it will mean accepting that the truth is far, far stranger than fiction, and that the deepest longings of our heart for security, freedom, joy, and ultimately heaven on earth are not only possible, but are actually unfolding much closer to home than our ego will allow us to accept. Our ego wants everything that we long for to remain in the future, because dreaming a utopian dream is actually far easier than living in a reality that requires us to surrender all of our illusions. Our illusions run very deep, and they bring us a degree of security and comfort that would stagger us, and thus most people prefer stories over reality. Stories bring us comfort, but realities set us free. And most people, despite what they may tell you, subconsciously choose comfort over reality every single time. I will not tell you any stories or encourage you to believe in any stories of future fulfillment of God's promises. I will tell you only what God has told me and shown me. It is up to you whether to accept my verity, sensitivity, honesty and insight on this subject, or whether you would prefer to continue to project things into the future and dismiss what I'm telling you as just more words from someone who thinks they have all the answers. I promise you that is not what I think, and it is not who I am. I'm a person who has put his mind and heart fully in God's hands, and I'm prepared to share what he shows me, even if it means being criticized, ridiculed, or being hated by most of the people around me. Such is the price for speaking an unwelcome truth, which threatens people's comforting belief systems and worldviews. Who is willing to accept that God is fulfilling his greatest promises right now and bring their minds out of the stories of future revelation? God's revelation is happening every single day, and I'm sure that you're well aware that the future doesn't even exist and will never come. One day, and why not today, we will have to open our eyes to the too good to be true miracles that God wants us to experience on our own doorstep at this very moment in time. Because this is where and this is when the new earth exists. Here and now. There is nowhere else. The process of revelation that you are undergoing is a process of withdrawing your mind from all illusions, a process for which the illusion of time is necessary. But the very last illusion which you must stop believing in is the illusion of the future. The truth, the revelation, the fulfillment of God's promises can only be experienced now. Everything he has promised you awaits you now if you are willing to stop investing in stories of future revelation and future fulfillment. I speak as a friend who has been given the job by God of speaking of his kingdom. If you were to know me well, which is my wish, then you would know that I am interested in nothing else but this, in sharing God's kingdom. I only hope you can hear me, because I know how loudly our doubts and disbeliefs speak to us. Please listen to your heart. Speak to God about this. Pray and meditate on all the things I have told you. Please be humble and willing to consider that God has many, many revelatory surprises that will require us to let go of all of our preconceived notions of how things will unfold. As I said, truth is far stranger than fiction. And if you want to criticize, judge, or get angry with someone, then speak to God, because he is the one that has written the script, which we are all destined to play out. So thank you for listening to this. I wish you well, and God bless you.